Western media always issue warnings about China, and in the Western imagination, the Chinese people are intimidating because of their strict discipline and extraordinary ability. However, whenever the West wants to target a certain country militarily or economically, the media will always label the country as authoritarian, etc. Therefore, we should thank Carlos Martinez, co-founder of the Reject the New Cold War movement in the UK and co-editor of the Friends of Socialist China website. Editor's note: Socialism in China describes the situation in China in a concise and easy-to-understand manner. The book refuted various accusations made by the West against China. It also provides an overview of China's 20th century history, economic and political systems, and the ideology that accompanied China's astonishing progress. Martinez analyzes and answers two questions that plague many on the political left. Is China a socialist country? Is it an imperialist country? First, through the facts collected in the book, briefly introduce the living conditions in China today. For example, the current average life expectancy in China is 78.2 years, and the literacy rate is 97%. In comparison, those figures in the United States are 76.4 and 79%, respectively. China has also eliminated absolute poverty, which means that in the past 40 years, 10% of the human population has been lifted out of poverty. To understand how impressive all this is, consider that China is not a rich country by global standards. According to the World Bank, China's per capita GDP in 2022 will be about 1/6 of that of the United States. When the People's Republic of China was founded in 1949, China was one of the poorest countries in the world, and the United States subsequently imposed a near-total blockade on China. China's progress did not begin with Sino-US contacts and reform and opening up in the 1970s and 1980s. From 1949 to 1976, life expectancy in China increased by 31 years, the fastest increase of any major country on record. At the same time, the literacy rate has increased from 20% to over 60%. In the late 20th century, China's economic reform was not only a development strategy, but also a strategy to deal with the existential threat posed by the West. China completely integrated itself into the global production chain. China's success lies not only in its internal development, but also in its global leadership. When America touts its global leadership, it looks nothing like the global leadership most of us want it to be. On the other hand, China is not only leading the world in poverty reduction, but also in technology and climate change. The book refutes in detail Western accusations that China is an imperialist. The accusations of imperialism overlap with those that China has put African countries in a debt trap. Ironically, it is the Western countries, the number one trap setter in African history, who make this accusation. Martinez dismissed that claim, describing the economic relationship between Africa and China and how it bears no resemblance to an imperialist-style relationship. The structure of the Chinese economy determines that it will not promote control of foreign markets, territories, resources, and labor, as free market capitalism does. Large banks are controlled by the state and are not mainly accountable to shareholders, but to the Chinese people. The same is true of critical industries which do not have as their primary objective the maximization of private profits. 10 years ago, China proposed the famous Belt and Road Initiative. As of last year, 150 countries have signed the Belt and Road Cooperation documents, and almost all southern countries have joined the Belt and Road. The West has also accused China of trying to militarize the South China Sea. However, China's activities in the South China Sea are for economic and military security. The blockade by the United States or other hostile forces poses a threat to China's survival, and given the provocations and exercises of the U.S. Navy in the South China Sea and Taiwan Strait, as well as the relationship between the United States and the Taiwan region, such threats are not groundless. In fact, it is the United States that is trying to militarize and control the region. The author calls on us to oppose the West's new Cold War against China. This new Cold War is multifaceted, including the United States' return to the Asia-Pacific in 2012, the restrictions on TikTok and WeChat, the detention of Huawei's chief financial officer Meng Wanzhou, and the United States military operations in the Taiwan Strait and the South China Sea. A propaganda war is also propaganda about a war, Martinez wrote. For those of us who are overwhelmed and horrified by the deluge of false Western reporting on China, if we wish to share information about China with friends, family, and others for more accurate information and to prevent wars, give them this book.